good y'all were here, because this is important today, man. Because we talking about today is very, very important. You're gonna get a lot out of today. How to spot emotional immaturity. So before we get into how to spot emotional immaturity, there's 10 signs of how to spot it. We're going to define what is emotional maturity. The opposite of emotional immaturity is emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is the ability to handle your emotions effectively, deal with conflict in healthy ways, and make well thought out decisions that lead to positive outcomes. Saying of the day is, your behavior is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. It ain't got nothing to do with other people. Your behavior is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. This talk is for educational purposes only. It's not a substitute for professional guidance, advice, treatment, or diagnosis. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, substance use or abuse, or suicidal thoughts, dial 988. 988 is available 24/7 nationwide and staffed by trained crisis counselors who are just a text or call away. What's immaturity, first of all? Let me throw that out there. Not fully developed. Thank you. What else? Silly. Reckless. Impulsive. But guess what? A lot of people graduate from being kids like that to being adults that are like that. Emotional maturity is a skill we should develop as adults, because you're given a little bit of leeway, a little bit of wiggle room when you were kids to be immature, right? But when you become an adult, people expect more of you. However, there are several signs that can indicate that someone is lacking in this area. That's why it's important to understand what emotional immaturity is, so you can spot it in yourself and others too. Number one, a lack of emotional awareness and connection. An emotionally immature person has difficulty connecting with their emotions. Why y'all think a person might have difficulty connecting with their emotions? Because they had to suppress their emotions. When you were a little kid and you were crying because something was going on, they said, shut up and quit crying. When you were angry or you were upset about something, you ain't got no reason to be upset. You don't pay no bills. That's how you learn how to suppress your emotions. They may not be able to understand what their feelings mean or how to manage them effectively. They may also have a hard time expressing themselves verbally. An emotionally immature person can appear moody, irritable, or angry without reason. That's what children do. Because that's immature to be sitting around with your lip poked out and with an attitude for no reason. That's what children do. We're not expected to do that as grown people and as adults. That's what a child does. The woman asking you, what's wrong? Ain't nothing wrong. You feel me? Their inability to connect with their own feelings also prevents them from recognizing other people's emotions. This makes it difficult to display empathy in general. How to spot an emotionally immature person. Number two, inability to deal with conflicts. This is a person who make a conflict worse. They make a bad situation worse. Whereas most of us, if you're intelligent, you're trying to dial back. You're trying to de-escalate the situation if you mature. If you mature, because an argument can lead to somebody getting shot and killed. A misunderstanding can lead to somebody getting killed. Emotionally immature people are often incapable of dealing with conflict. They don't have the skills needed to manage stress and difficult situations. They may also struggle with self-reflection, which means a lot of us, when we do blow up or lose our cool, we reflect on that. We sit back like, I can't do that no more. I got to learn how to control that. That's what most of us do. That's growth. They may also struggle with self-reflection and the ability to analyze things objectively. When things get hard for an emotionally immature person, they likely either shut down completely, which means they give you the silent treatment. But they're not telling you what's wrong. That's immature. They're likely either shut down completely or lash out at others in an attempt to avoid having any sort of vulnerability. How to spot emotionally immaturity. Number three, getting offended or hurt easily. Sensitive. Sensitive. Come on. Getting offended or hurt easily. People who are emotionally immature can be offended by anything from a harsh word to a perceived slight or criticism, and they react with anger, insecurity, or defensiveness. They may even think that others are trying to hurt them even if the intent wasn't malicious. This is because the person makes everything about them and their feelings, and they cannot separate their emotions from what's happening around them. Oh, we finna get this. Oh, how to spot emotional immaturity. Number 4, commitment issues. Because a grown man gonna make a commitment. Now you be 40 or 30 or 50 trying to juggle 2 good women and you're gonna lose both of them. Y'all remember that saying? A bird in the hand? Who know the last part? Bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. Do y'all know what that means? That means you holding the bird. But you put that bird down to pick up a rock to get the 2 in the bush. And the 2 in the bush scattered, and then the bird you just put down just went away. Ooh. Commitment issues. This is a classic sign of emotional immaturity. I'm going to say it one more time. This is a classic sign of emotional immaturity. Commitment issues. Commitment is scary because it means letting go of control in it, and it's much easier to keep things at arm's length than it is to deal with the uncertainty and vulnerability that comes with committing wholeheartedly. An emotionally immature person usually has a hard time committing to things, and that includes people. They may be fine with being in a relationship or even marriage, but they expect their partner to do all the work. It's as if they want the other person to handle everything so they don't have to put in any effort. Ooh, I don't know what that sounds like, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. How to spot emotional immaturity. Number 5, ego-driven. Person who is ego-driven. Emotionally immature people tend to lead with their egos rather than their heart. Ooh. Emotionally immature people tend to lead with their ego rather than their hearts. They are motivated by their own self-interest and personal gain and have a hard time seeing past themselves. Those who exhibit emotional immaturity tend to seek external validation for their self-esteem. Now, y'all know we talked about self-esteem. It's called self-esteem. It ain't us-esteem. So if you're looking for outside validation in order for you to feel good about yourself, that's not real. Because you have to, listen, man, if you go out and try to talk to this is high self-esteem. You go out and try to talk to a fine woman and you approach her and you laying down all the right things. You looking good, you smell good, and she's like, I'm not interested. A person with high self-esteem gonna be like, thank you for your time, ma'am. You're still beautiful. Thank you for the conversation. You have a good day today. That's high self-esteem because you can accept rejection. Whereas a person with low self-esteem, once she say, I'm not interested after you pour all that niceness and sweetness into her, F-U-B, you ugly anyway. That's a person with low self-esteem. Made yourself look real bad. Those who exhibit emotional immaturity tend to seek external validation for their self-esteem, and they often have a need to be the center of attention. Always. They'll be at your funeral trying to get the attention. This manifests as needing constant praise and reassurance from others, but it can also mean that they get jealous or envious when others succeed. How to spot emotional immaturity. Number 6, impulsive behavior. Because as we become adults, we're not supposed to be just impulsive. You see a girl with a big butt and a pretty smile, and you just going in that direction? Impulsive behavior. Another way to spot emotional immaturity is through impulsive behavior. Impulsivity is a way of thinking and acting characterized by a lack of forethought and consideration of the consequences of one's actions. Instead of considering the pros and cons before making a decision, the person will act without thinking about what might happen afterward. This can lead to socially inappropriate behavior and make it difficult to develop and maintain healthy, long-term relationships. How to spot emotional immaturity. Number 7, refusal to accept responsibility for your crap. Emotionally immature people tend to blame others for their problems and misfortune. By doing this, they manage to avoid taking responsibility for the outcomes of their actions. If something goes wrong, it's never because of anything they did or didn't do. They're always victims of someone else or some unfortunate situation. This is why they have trouble apologizing. They don't believe they could do anything wrong. In addition to refusing to accept responsibility, they tend to be complainers who feel sorry for themselves. Anybody know anybody like that? How to spot emotional immaturity. Number 8, selfishness. Me. Selfishness. The same way children are generally focused on their own needs primarily, so are emotionally immature adults. Basically, emotional immaturity is you're still a child. Emotionally, you're still a child. You might be in an adult person's body, but mentally, emotionally, you're a child. You 30, 40, 50 years old, Talking about you trying to get back at somebody opposed to just leaving them alone and letting them go about their little merry own way. You are emotionally immature. Now I got to get my revenge. What? How old are you? Did you survive the situation? Because sometimes when you go back to get that revenge, you might not survive the next time. And I don't mean that you get killed that you don't survive. You might get put in the penitentiary. Selfishness. The same way children are generally focused on their own needs primarily, so are emotionally immature adults. They tend to be selfish with their own needs and wants, taking priority over everyone else's. Emotionally immature people don't recognize that there is a give and take in relationships. Instead, they think that love should be based on what someone does for them. You want to know, emotionally immature person is an adult who thinks that they quantify love by what you do for them. See, that ain't a love, that's transactional. That's transactional because love transcends a transaction. You understand what I'm saying? So if you got a relative or a brother who don't have a job and he's struggling to get on his feet, you're not counting how many times you gave him money. Because if you're counting that, that's not love. Love don't keep track. Love doesn't keep a list. If you're keeping a list, it's a transaction. It's not love. Not only do they expect others to do things for them, but they also feel entitled to have things done for them without an effort on their part. How to spot emotional immaturity. Number 9, you're always holding grudges. You're going through life holding grudges. Holding grudges. Emotionally immature people are not able to forgive and move on from grievances. They find it difficult to let things go, even if it's obvious that they don't matter anymore. Am I right? I'm going to get them back. But as adults, that's immaturity. Because you'd be better off just leaving that person alone and going about your business and living your life. They sulk when something bad happens and hold on to bad feelings about past events as a way of justifying their anger towards others. An emotionally immature person has trouble understanding that there is no need for revenge because it only makes things worse for everyone involved and creates more problems than it solves. And God said, vengeance is mine. Ain't that what he said? Bro, my brother here today, man, he'll tell you right now, I've been fighting since I was a 3-year-old. I've been brawling since 5 years old. No. I ain't talking about what y'all used to do at 5 years old. When I was 5 and we was going to fight, I'm on this. At 5. And I've been fighting all my life. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have never greased somebody up good enough as good as God done greased somebody up for me. God will grease you up a whole lot more than I can. I done seen it. I done seen it where somebody was coming up against me, coming out against me. And I just stepped back and say, just pray about it. And God took care of the whole situation. Quit trying to get vengeance on everybody, man. Sometimes you got to just turn it over to God and let God handle that situation. Because you're going to end up going to the penitentiary. Or you might lose your job. Or you might lose some dignity and some respect behind somebody's foolishness. All that time I'm out there fighting when all I had to do was start praying.
Just that easy.
All that time. All that time I'm out there fighting, man. And all I had to do was pray to God. Come on. Thank you. Most immature people are not able to forgive and move on from grievances. They find it difficult to let things go, and even if it's obvious that they don't matter anymore, they sulk when something bad happens and hold on to bad feelings about past events as a way to justify their anger towards others. An emotionally immature person has trouble understanding that there is no need for revenge because it only makes things worse for everyone involved and creates more problems than it solves. How to spot emotional immaturity, and final one, number 10, tendency to bully or spread rumors. Because when you're dealing with an emotionally immature person and you stand up to them, they're going to try to bully you. When you stand up to an emotionally immature person and they get confronted, a way to get back at you is to spread rumors about you or to lie on you. Sometimes the only way an emotionally immature person can deal with someone who is challenging their opinion or blocking them from getting what they want is to turn the situation around on that person and make it about the other person. They may resort to bullying, name calling, and spreading rumors. Emotionally immature maturity is a serious issue that affects many people. It's one of the most common reasons for people to feel frustrated in their relationships. It may be hard to spot, but the more you know about it and how it presents itself, the better equipped you'll be in dealing with a person like this. If you want to improve as an individual, learning to be more emotionally mature will help you become more effective in handling stressful situations. It will also help to improve your relationships in general. So we said that there was 10 ways to spot emotional immaturity. Number 1 is lack of emotional awareness and connection. Number 2 is the inability to deal with conflict. Number 3, getting offended or hurt easily. Number 4, you got commitment issues. Number 5, you are ego driven. Number 6, you have impulsive behavior. Number 7, refusal to accept responsibility. Number 8, selfishness. Number 9, holding on to grudges. And number 10, tendency to bully and spread rumors. Question, concerns, or comments, y'all?
Yeah.
Great, man. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like rites of passage to maturity. Everybody's been just at one point in their life. I probably all 10.
Most everybody is in there.
Yeah.
Most of the people are right there, bro.
Rite of passage.
A lot of people who we respect and look up to are right there. Emotionally immature, but you don't know what you don't know. And if you was raised a certain way and something's been normalized, you ain't gonna see it as something bad. That's why some of y'all sit in this class, when I talk to you, like, oh man, that makes a whole lot. It changes your perspective. Go ahead, Tim. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
I was recognizing that myself, and I think every human's probably experienced some of that. You're supposed to get past it, but you experience it, you grip to it.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize that you can be lacking emotional awareness, or even to the bottom bullying, even spreading rumors. You might think it's a joke, but that's what you're doing. You're spreading rumors. And laughing at somebody to the extent where you're not laughing with them, you're laughing at them. That's bullying, which is very hurtful. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen people call people with like a group. They call the same guy over and over again, and every time they got him in the car, he became the butt of the joke to the point where it's like cruel. I said, man, damn, y'all! Every time y'all call him, y'all got a joke. You got jokes for him all day, and you won't let up on it. He eventually said, man, I appreciate that, because they do. One guy was like, man, I'm gonna do it until he stops coming over. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's a toxic person.
Yeah, it is.
That's a toxic person, and when we find toxic people in our lives, we have to avoid them.